to the next lesson. Now, we've covered 3 basic types of footwork so far, the on-guard position and the salutation. Now we're going to have a look at some of our weapons, starting with stop hit and straight lead. Stop hit and the straight lead mechanisms of our upper body are more or less the same. Straight lead is performed with our lead weapon, as is implied by the name already. It's going straight, not in an arc, like a hook would be. And this is based on the theory that the shortest distance between 2 points, from A to B, is a straight line. A straight line will always win from a curved line. Now this curved line may have more momentum, therefore a bit more power, but it takes longer to get to target. Therefore it's easier to see, particularly from distance. And a straight lead or a stop hit will be able to intercept that much easier. This is where the name of Jeet Kune is derived from, the way of the intercepting fist. Now, how we do this is as follows. First, we're going to do this from a stationary position. This is how it's done in the way of a stop hit. Let's take our on-guard position again. What is happening is my lead hand is going to stretch out straight over my center line in a straight line forward. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to rotate my upper body. You can help that a little bit with that by pivoting your rear foot. But in the end, your position should be a complete straight line, as if you've just shot a bow and arrow. Don't be forgetting about your inner hand, however. So if you're coming forward with your punch, this one stays here as a guard. Now the important bit of the straight lead is that my fist is upright, as you've just seen, and I hit it with the lower 3 knuckles. This means that my fist is in complete alignment with my arm. There's no tilt or whatever in it. It's completely level. Same from the front. This is one flat line. Don't want to have kinks in it. No kinks. So from here, it's going straight forward, pivoting my hips, and boom. This is an enormously powerful alignment. This is very strong. I suggest you try this out by leaning like this against the wall. And if you're perfectly straight, you could stay there for a long time, leaning on that fist like that. The moment you're not in alignment anymore, there's some rotation in your upper body, you will collapse onto yourself if you did that. Okay? So, that's a nice way to check whether you're completely outstretched and in line with that shot. So, something comes at me, stretch out, boom, and I hit, and back. Now when you're practicing this straight lead, initially I would like you to hold your shot for a few seconds, just 1 or 2 seconds, boom, 1, 2, and drop it back. Why? But by doing that in the beginning, you will learn to completely stretch out your arm, which is where the power lies, as we just discussed. There's the structure. If you're wanting to go too fast, the majority of people then stop extending their arm properly, and they stop maybe here, like this. You want full extension. Full extension. Use the leverage of your body, use the reach of your arm, and use that structure to get power behind it, to get stability behind it. And as a stop hit, you're not going forward with it. You let the opponent come to you. He comes at me, I'm stretching out, and he walks into it. And basically, timing that right is what stop it is all about. Stop progress of your attack. So that's a stop hit. So what's the straight lead? The straight lead mechanics of my punch is exactly the same as a stop hit. Only when leading, I'm the one putting the motion behind it. Now I can't do it stationary, although then it's referred to as a stop hit. But when I'm attacking, I'm going to use my footwork. Now with this, I'm going to use that push step that you learned in one of the first lessons to cover ground. And you even saw me demonstrating it briefly. So what I'm going to do here is to push myself forward, all the while stretching out my arm and hitting the stag. Now, while that is the mechanics of the motion, it's not the order of motion. You see, to be non-telegraphic, to be able to land that punch without it being seen, or at least being able to respond to or react to in order to evade it or block it or whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that that fist moves first. It's a fraction of a second at real speed, but imagine that you're in a fighting position, your wrist is being grabbed, it pulls forward, and as that's happening, you have no choice but to go after it. Now, gravity is a bit of a non-cooperative quantity in this whole thing. I can't do this in slow motion, sadly, but the mechanism is I'm being pulled forward, my arm is extending, then I'm starting to rotate, and at this point I'm starting to push off and go in that direction. So very slowly, one and okay, my arm starts extending, now my hip starts rotating, and I'm pushing off and land the shot. At real speed, like that. Again, make sure you fully rotate. Here, and again, on guard. Make that a habit. Now, I was talking about extensions and rotations. There are three forces at play here. One is my linear force, that is me moving forward, linear. I have a rotational force, that is me putting my hips into the shot, like that. And the last one are vertical forces. Which vertical forces, you may wonder. I saw you going forward. Is what you probably ask. Here's where they are. If I look at my arm extension, now just use each joint in isolation for a moment. If I'm rotating at my shoulder, my arm will go up and down. If I'm rotating at my elbow, my lower arm will go up and down, vertical force. I'm rotating at my wrist, vertical force. Now if I combine these three at the same time, my arm goes forward. So 3 vertical forces, 3 fulcrums, 3 joints, induce a linear direction, but the forces at play are vertical. Look that up in your physics class, or ask that on your physics tutor. The resulting travel is linear in this case, but the forces are rotational, vertical rotating points. So I've got the hip rotation, I've got the linear motion, and I've got my arm extension, vertical moves. Those 3 forces combined make sure that result in me going forward with a punch. One last detail for this. When you're striking like this, and it lands on the target, you have to make sure that your fist lands a fraction of a second before your front foot lands. Now this is important again, because if you land first and then hit, all your body mass is gone. The energy of that is going into the ground, and all you're left with is the power of just your upper arm. Now your upper arm in relation to the whole body isn't very heavy. What we want to be able to do is to get my whole body mass in the shot. Okay? Again, from physics, force equals mass times speed squared. So speed is important. Mass is the one other element that you cannot cannot change. You can change your speed, you cannot change your mass. But you do want it in the equation in order to produce force or power. So make sure that when you hit, fist lands the target a fraction before your feet go on the ground. So you hit and land. Okay? And again, stay close to the ground. Try that out. You've got more than enough to do for now.